Hey everybody, welcome to our very first, that's right, the inaugural episode of FlixPlusPrime, and that's inaugural episode.
The episode?
Already starting off on a great foot. Your host, Johnny Torres, how you doing? We are bringing you this exciting new program, basically to give you an insight on what to watch on all the myriad of streaming platforms out there. I mean, it is quite literally a village. They've literally reinvented cable, where you can pay by the channel. Anyhow, we appreciate you for watching. We are going to make sure over the coming months that you're going to be able to find this show anywhere and everywhere, and our goal is to provide you just some insight, our perspectives on all the great programming that's out there on the various streaming platforms, and tell you what we liked, what we didn't like, and what you should just simply avoid. All right, so over here acting like a couple of restless puppies are my co-hosts for the program. Right next to me is the one and only Nate Ginter.
Howdy, y'all.
What's up, buddy?
Oh, beautiful day to be here talking about stuff that I would be talking about anyway.
Yeah, I'm excited. We kind of just started putting this together, and it's really snowballing, but I'm excited to get it off the ground.
Well, I was here for one of your other excellent podcasts, and really, I feel like we developed what could be called a bromance.
I would agree.
What you call a trio of bros, but a bro down, perhaps?
Someone's putting a lot of words into this relationship right now.
And over there on the far right,
Evil's making me work for it. I appreciate that.
I'm a lady. I'm not going to just share these cookies with anyone. Lord Almighty.
over there is the incredibly jealous Anibal David Cabrera, and as you can already tell, he's going to be giving us more than likely quite a very different perspective than what you might hear from Nate and I. But to not waste any time, as you can see right over here on the TV right next to us, we're going to kick off this awesome podcast with, I would say, an equally awesome show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And one of the rules about this program that you'll learn is we're not going to be discussing anything that was already on broadcast television or in movie theaters. We are only going to be discussing things that are natively to streaming platforms. And not to say that we won't, also suggest some stuff as we have a little segment coming up called Outside the Box,
sure,
which are things that you can find on TV or in movie theaters. But
wouldn't
really
that technically be inside the box?
Whose box are we talking about?
Outside Maisel theme show, sir.
Outside the box being the box. Streaming. Oh, Jesus Christ. So much for being or trying to be a family program. That went out the window first episode.
Whose family are we talking about here?
No. Did Natalie Portman star in this? I don't.
Oh, man. I don't even. Yeah, that was a bit of a deep reference even for me.
That was. Kids won't understand.
So, outside the box being outside the streaming box, right? Which, the technology is moving so quickly now. There aren't even boxes. You used to need an Apple TV, and now it's like basically either built into the TV or it's a USB drive. It's like a little flash drive you just put into the back of your TV.
Has there been an upgrade that I don't know about? I don't understand.
Oh yeah, I got an LG TV like a year ago.
We're still talking about. Okay, I know what we're talking about now.
Yeah, there's not even a. You just heard dongle.
No, I heard no more boxes. I was like, what on earth is happening in society today?
All right.
Now you have men being women and women being men. I have no idea what's going on.
So the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
It's the roughest intro in history. I love it.
Tell me about it. Is based on
Where's Sully? We need him to land the ship.
Jonathan, take control of this immediately.
I'm trying, but I'm finding it nearly impossible.
But yet our mics are on.
I know. At this point, I'd rather play the sound effects.
If he actually knew where they were.
There we go. All right. So for the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I'll tell you the one thing that actually drew my attention early enough was the cast member Alex Borstein, which if you do follow that sort of thing, she was actually an incredibly talented voice actress from Family Guy. And she's done a lot with
Miss Swan on Mad TV.
Right. She did Mad TV before that, which she was incredible in. And then, of course, again, she's done tons of work with Seth MacFarlane. I think she also did a Cleveland Guy or the Cleveland Show.
We all know what you meant.
We can't talk about boxes here, but you're perfectly fine talking about other people's. Never mind.
Oh, boy. So, Now you threw me off. So, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Alex Borstein, not the primary character here. Obviously, she's not Mrs. Maisel. She turns out to inevitably become her manager. But she's still an incredibly interesting storyline within the show, and one of the primary storylines.
Well, and to set the table a little bit, so it's a period piece. So we're talking 50s.
Which I love. I'm a big fan of this.
I love it. The only thing I love more than the 50s is the 20s. So I'm an Art Deco man.
Okay,
but
you got someone in common with an evil.
I knew it. So I would say she's a recently married young housewife who ends up suddenly running into a rocky relationship with her husband, who wants to be a stand-up comedian, and she, through a series of events, ends up just getting drunk and doing stand-up one day and is seen by Miss Borstein, and the show kind of takes off from there.
Without a shirt. So that needs to be added there also.
Indeed.
We're going to be having a lot of those references of without a shirt.
Yes.
It happens at least once a season. It just happens to be a boob on TV.
Well, and then one of the feature episodes that we're going to be filming, there's also the without a shirt in the first season, in the first episode.
Yes.
So, just as a little teaser for you to keep looking out for a future episode. But Rachel,
I think you're reaching towards the future.
Rachel Brosnahan, if that's how you pronounce it, does an amazing job.
She's wonderful.
I can't recall anything really she's really stood out in.
So she looked super familiar to me, and I realized at first I was probably thinking of the girl from The Blacklist, but I was like, nah, that's not it. She was in a wonderful HBO show called In Treatment that aired about 10 years ago, and she was it was 10 years ago. She was really young at the time, probably mid-teens, and she played a girl with an eating disorder that was featured on a couple of episodes. Spectacular, just really haunting performance, and you can really see her chops jumping from drama to comedy and back. She's a real deal.
I'm enjoying her monologues. I thoroughly enjoy her monologues as Mrs. Maisel. I think they're absolutely hilarious. They really are hitting the point of what's happening in society at that moment, and I think I enjoy it. I love the fact that we're looking at a period piece talking about women's issues, talking about family issues, and just throwing it all around.
She's such a likable character that you wish that there had been someone like that back then.
Correct.
Well, that is one point that I would like to bring up. Is this is an entire work of fiction. Right. It is when I say a period piece, it's set in a specific period, but it is very much bringing a lot of modern sensibility to that period. There's a very funny woman comic, which is makes it a little bit of a fantasy as well.
Yeah,
even present day, it's still.
It's
right there.
It's just
right there.
Good Lord.
Listen, there are a lot of extremely funny stand-up comics, and much like in the show, men write for them, and but in reality. There was it was very hard to be a woman stand-up comic. It was almost unheard of, and there were a couple, Phyllis Diller and the like, that you would see, but they were
Lucille Ball even in that period wasn't even known quite yet for her comedic prowess.
Correct.
She was still kind of a B-film movie actress that was
on TV though, which is a very big difference. There were not women going around in New York nightclubs doing stand-up.
No, correct. You did not start in that industry. You fell into that industry. Right. Even the most recent Golden Girl that passed away. Oh, I'm forgetting her name right now.
Betty White.
She did stand up, and she was hilarious when she would take over.
For sure.
For all the other,
but that didn't come till like a decade later,
right? And that's what I'm saying. It almost fell in. All the women back then fell into that career,
and
because it was never started that way.
This guy snuck something in on us. This is from the creators of the Gilmore Girls.
Oh, really?
So he somehow backed us into the Gilmore Girls world again.
I'm not going to deny.
Damn Gilmore Girls.
Don't get me wrong. I have an entire list of TV shows that they have done, and I am not. I'm going to sneak them all into this program.
So, for those who don't know, Anibal has an insanely bonkers love of the Gilmore Girls. It's a great show.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's a cute show. It's good background noise.
I will say I watch it with the dialogue turned off mostly, but it's very good. It's well shot.
So back to the
Makes
TV show
terrible
that we're
use of
talking
Melissa
about.
McCarthy.
Back to what we're actually talking about. I will say the dynamics of the family are too close, hitting too close to home when it comes to a lot of my Jewish friends and family members.
Yeah.
That they're like, this is real. Like this is literally happening, and what happens with the family when they get almost kicked out of the temple, and them trying to make sure that the rabbi is always happy. Like that's a real thing that even happens to today.
Well, and again, going back to the characters that I love about this show, I mean, again, who else better than Tony Shalhoub?
Oh, if you wonder where Monk's been,
I
you
mean,
have been watching.
found
I
him.
mean,
Found him.
four
Well,
seasons, he kills it.
And he's so great at playing like this really like just slightly offbeat, you know, like
he's on the spectrum.
Oh,
he is definitely on the spectrum.
Yeah. But
from
he-
1950, yes.
And his storyline is also so kind of crazy and like it just goes it like places and back, and then you know and so I'm always fascinated as to what is he going to say or what is he up to, because he always manages to get himself into these really crazy situations that again. The writers on the show, I think, honestly, are just giving so much away in every
sure.
episode, because there are easily 2, 3, if not more, characters that could easily be their own show.
And it could easily spin off. And that's what I think might happen. So for anyone that doesn't know, that it's already, we're talking about seasons 1 through 4, and season 5 has already been announced that they are going to produce it and it's going to come out. The problem is it's going to be the last season. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a larger...
Don't believe it.
I know. I don't need... We talked about this already. I wouldn't be surprised if we get more than 8 episodes this cycle, for the last cycle, and they're going to see what it looks like, because they can spin off Sophie Lennon. They can easily spin off Lenny Bruce. They can even have a whole conversation.
And you'll see those. I think you'll see spin-offs. I don't think we may see a continuation. Now, I haven't watched all of season 4 yet.
If you've been looking what's going on in all popular media, though, everybody these days is coming back 5, 10 years later and doing, whether it's a short miniseries or some sort of revival.
Well, you know why, though?
Money?
Oh, yes. Finally, a capitalist on the show.
Yeah.
Well, and again...
And the pursuit of art.
Well, what's amazing and the window of opportunity that streaming has opened up is that it has justified the cost of production.
Yes.
Because now this piece of this project is going to be out there for infinity.
Right.
And people are going to get to watch it over and over again. People are going to subscribe just to watch it.
Sure.
And you can say that about any number of shows that we're going to be talking about. But again, I would love to see, maybe a prequel of the Tony Shalhoub character.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or like you said, maybe a spin-off of the Sophie Lennon character played, and I'm forgetting her name. She was from Glee.
Jen Leach.
So, because again, this show is so rich with characters. And the other thing I want to point out, because I think you, Nate, I believe you and I share a love for stand-up comedy, is that among stand-up comedians, they've actually said that this is easily, if not one of the best representations of stand-up comedy that they've seen on screen.
We can't talk about the stand-up comedy thing without talking about Kevin Pollak. I mean, come on. One of the greatest to ever set foot on stage. And
one of the best walk-in impersonations.
Yes.
Baby, you're not wrong. So he's absolutely amazing. There's actually a great interview that you can watch with the whole cast that's done by Patton Oswalt.
Okay.
And they talk, I won't get into that, but they talk a lot about that specific thing in how much comics really identify with them, really putting their process up there.
Because even, there's a Lenny Bruce character, who's the only real person, like a person that existed in that time that is being portrayed on the show. And I haven't delved in deep enough into Lenny Bruce.
Sure.
But from what I've heard
Not
from
that
other comics, from what I've heard, about his portrayal, it's actually pretty good. And
it's close. Lenny, from what I've heard, Lenny was a lot more of a dark person in real life.
Yeah, but you're coming out of New York in the 50s. That makes complete sense. That's going to be a little bit darker. The reason, and I hear the same thing when it comes to comedians.
But the show's just not that dark.
It gives you, correct, but it also gives you how the sausage is made. Yeah. You have to be nice to the promoter. You have to be nice to the club people. You're going to get paid $1.50, maybe $2, or you're going to stand out in front and get people inside. And I don't think the majority of people understand how difficult this industry really is. Yeah. And we don't see them until they get on a TV show or until they're in front of someone else.
Because we start to see, again, as the seasons progress, more of a sub storyline of the Lenny Bruce character,
Right.
and his personal struggles.
It really is. If there was only, so, when you're watching like an NFL team, there's, second and third string players that are out there on the field. If you can imagine a field where, imagine your favorite, the NFL league, and it's only the starters, and you only see the superstars, that's what stand-up comedy is. You don't see the 1,000 people behind them that have failed and drank themselves to death, or just had to quit and get a job, they just really they couldn't hang with it. And it's a tough industry. I worked at a comedy club for many years, and there's a lot of great people. Now there's a very middle class version of that life as well, where you're not going to be the person that gets on, you might work cruise ships or something of that nature.
And it's a job is a job, and that's what it's really showing. So, which is why the 4th season people got so upset when it came to her character, because you were starting to get upset with her character, and now the writers have given you a reason to watch Joe Maisel. You've given them a reason to watch the parents. You've given them a reason to watch Susie, and that's what you want, because now again I agree, you can go anywhere and everywhere, and I'm so excited for the next season.
And again, kudos to the casting director on this one, because even down to, again, so her ex-husband, so Joel's girlfriend, like that girl, the Asian girl, she has an amazing personality.
Phenomenal.
That whole that whole storyline with the Chinese underground nightclub mafia thing that's going on. I mean, and if you haven't noticed by now, obviously there may be some spoilers if you haven't watched up until now. But
Allegedly,
yes, the Chinese do have a mafia.
It's all alleged. I do not want us to have a problem with that group of society. We love what you do. I love Manja.
All right, so we haven't really come up with an official scoring system yet, I think.
I give it, thumbs up, whatever. I think thumbs up is a little.
Question: Are you going to watch the next season?
I absolutely will. Yes.
Are you gonna watch the 4th season?
I'm in the middle of the 4th season. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will. I am also going to watch. So it might be that where we score. Are you going to watch, or are you going to?
And again, we're into the 4th season, folks. So this is definitely a must-watch. And
so do we have 3 streams of Yay or something? Is that we're crossing the stream.
That's
a Ghostbusters reference.
Oh yeah.
Boom. That's what I'm talking about.
No.
All right, we're going to wrap up every show with a quick recommendation of something outside the box. That's right, outside the streaming box. For me, actually, I will say I just watched, and I'll kind of cheat here on the first episode, but I watched both of Kenneth Branagh's last 2 movies, both The River on the Nile and Murder on the Orient Express, which I couple them because they're both Detective Poirot stories, and shot beautifully, executed beautifully.
Yes.
Death on the Nile.
Death on the Nile. What did I say?
Murder on the Nile.
You're thinking Murder
on the Orient Express. And
So Death on the Nile, which is actually the book is the River Nile.
Someone's committed to it.
Kenneth Branagh is just, the dude is a rock star in so many ways. He is an amazing director.
Oh yeah.
Amazing actor. And he proves it with both of these films. So definitely check those out. Nate.
Sticking with the theme of powerful female protagonists that are jumping genres, I recommend, if you haven't seen every single episode of Alias from the beginning, go back. She actually even kind of looks like Maisel Brosnahan. It's a great story. Starts off in college, becomes recruited by the CIA, jumps back and forth from being like a kick-ass James Bond style, spy thriller, up until family drama, a little bit of Felicity mixed in there. Directed and written by J.J. Abrams. You can't go wrong. Alias for the win.
Big cult following too. It has.
Still, I'm a member of that cult.
Yep.
Rumble, baby.
I am going old school and saying Boston Legal. I have gone back to that. I am loving it. William Shatner is absolutely phenomenal. It's a character you want to hate, and you do hate, and you love it that you're hating.
Will we be flamingos?
Yes.
Well, and who's the counterpart? Who's the guy that's
James Spader?
James Spader.
Come on now.
Okay, so the dynamic between them two is fantastic.
It's phenomenal.
I in fact, if anything, I watched the show mostly just for their interactions. I would say. I mean, I thought that dynamic, that chemistry was great.
Denny Crane. I was going to say Denny Crane.
That's right.
Oh my God, that's it for me.
I kind of like that role for Shatner more than
Oh,
Kirk.
perfect.
I mean, it was just
Blasphemy, but you're not
Holy
wrong.
crap. Let's finish the episode.
On that note, thank you so
I
much for
think
watching.
you're wrong.
Wow,
We'll
this
be-
is amazing. How are we friends?
We'll be coming to you from all the streaming platforms as we continue to roll the show out. My name has been Johnny Torres, and Evil David Cabrera, Nate Ginter with me. This has been Flix Plus Prime. So long, everybody.